A very warm welcome to Amish Shakil 5858. I am Amish Shackle. Following news have been reported by American and Canadian news channels, so please watch it.
Tonight, Pope Francis back home after weeks in the hospital, greeted by crowds, and the recovery still ahead. Cheers erupting in Rome. The Pope making his first public appearance since his battle with pneumonia began. Catholics around the world seeing prayers answered, with the 88-year-old on the mend just in time for Easter. What his doctors are saying tonight. The race to contain wildfires burning in several states tonight. A state of emergency and evacuations in the Carolinas, with 1 million Americans under fire alerts. Growing pressure on the Senate's top Democrat as he insists he will not step down, and the new efforts inside that party to chart a path to push back on President Trump. The president himself pushing ahead with mass deportations. Venezuela now set to accept migrant flights from the U.S. And Canada's new prime minister on offense over tariffs. New arrests tonight in that deadly mass shooting in New Mexico. The latest on the investigation as the community grieves the 3 people killed. Unimaginable heartbreak for a New York baseball star. The questions tonight over the death of Brett Gardner's teenage son while on vacation. A 12-year-old girl facing hate crime charges for an alleged attack on 2 students.
This is NBC Nightly News with Hallie Jackson.
Canada is officially in a federal election campaign on this Sunday night. From tax cuts to removing internal trade barriers, how the economic threats from the U.S. are shaping party priorities.
I'm asking Canadians for a strong, positive mandate to deal with President Trump. I will protect Canada, and I will always put our country first.
The leader's first day pitches in an election like no other. Pope Francis out of hospital and back in the public eye. Deadly Russian drone attacks hit Kyiv as Ukraine pushes for peace. And hearing from you.
Healthcare and affordability of everything.
What voters are saying as parties hit the ground running in the early election.
Global National reporting tonight. Nico Garcha.
Renegade school districts are ignoring President Trump's executive order to keep boys out of girls' locker rooms. In Deerfield, Illinois, one mom says her 13-year-old daughter's school tried to force her to change for her gym in front of a boy, who now identifies as a girl, but her daughter and her friends flat out refused. The mom said this eventually led to the school administrators coming into the locker room to make sure the girls changed without a fight. Again, this brave 13-year-old refused. Joining me now, that Illinois mom, Nicole Georges. Nicole, thank you for joining us. You must be proud of your daughter.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for having me.
Tell me about what happened here at this school, because the school's, going to put out a statement and we'll share it with people. But the claim here is that no one was forced to do anything. No one has to actually change into a gym uniform. That's all made up.
Right. Well, we have recording with the teacher threatening disciplinary action if you didn't change.
The Deerfield Public School District 109 told the Anglin Part no student is required to change into a gym uniform in front of others. All students have multiple options to change at a private location if they wish. So, Nicole, I'm hearing this and I think, why should your daughter have to find another place to change if there is a girls' locker room?
Exactly. There is a girls' locker room, and this child also has a gender-neutral option that child chose not to change in. And we also have audio recording of that teacher forcing them to change and threatening them with disciplinary action. We have audio recording of that. So that is, we have that.
Now, when you brought this up at the school board meeting,
yes,
how did that go down?
Well, I was attacked by an angry mob of woke, basically vigilantes that were bussed in from different communities. Most of these people didn't reside here. They did not have any children that even lived or went to school in the district. There was very few people that actually spoke to kids that actually went to the district. So I'm not sure how they could ever be dictating what goes on in my child's school. It was I was the only one that actually showed any poise and grace. I got attacked most of the time. It was pretty alarming.
Nicole, what's your daughter's state of mind right now?
She's fine. You know what? She wants to continue to fight. She was raised by me, and she's so proud to have a wonderful president that has taught her to continue to keep on this fight. We're proud, and we're going to continue on. And we know that this is not right. We know that federal funding should be stripped until they abide by President Trump's executive order.
All right, Nicole, money talks, and this should get resolved. This should get resolved.
Needs to
we'll
be.
See. Stay in touch with us, please, about this.
Tonight, millions are on alert for severe weather from a cross-country storm. Pope Francis is out of the hospital and back at the Vatican, facing a long recovery ahead. And the U.S. resumes deportation flights to Venezuela. We begin with that dangerous storm system moving across the country. After a week of storms and wildfires, millions are now on alert for high winds and snow in the upper Midwest. Severe storms are likely in the south, and the East Coast will start the work week with heavy rain. Our team is tracking it all. Pope Francis leaves a hospital in Rome in a wheelchair after 5 harrowing weeks. The Pope with a thumbs up and a weak voice addressing the faithful, what we've learned about his recovery from double pneumonia, and what those in the Vatican say about his visibility going forward. Venezuela agrees to resume accepting deportation flights carrying migrants who are in the U.S. illegally. This comes after the Trump administration sent hundreds of Venezuelans to a notorious prison in El Salvador. And sources tell ABC News the IRS is now close to a deal to help ICE locate immigrants targeted for deportation. Also tonight, a former U.S. attorney is found dead in her Virginia home. The medical examiner is now investigating the cause. Jessica Aber was just 43 years old and handled national security and financial fraud cases, but resigned when President Trump started his second term. The search for suspects in a mass shooting in Houston. At least 6 people are injured after gunfire erupted at what police describe as an after-hours bar. An arrest in a deadly shooting in New Mexico. The embarrassing reason a United Airlines jet bound for China was forced to divert to another airport in California. Plus, shocking video of a high school basketball coach pulling a player's ponytail. Tonight, he's out of a job. March Madness games going right down to the wire. Could the defending national champions upset a number 1 seed? And America Strong tonight. The nurse who helps patients facing a difficult diagnosis. For her, the fight is personal.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York.
Tonight, welcome home. The faithful cheer as Pope Francis is released from the hospital after 5 weeks of treatment.
I'm Chris Lucey outside the Vatican, where we've learned that Pope Francis narrowly escaped death more than once while in the hospital.
Also tonight, doubling down despite legal challenges, the Trump administration is accelerating its migrant crackdown.
I'm Nicole Skanga at the White House as top officials defend President Trump's use of a wartime power against alleged Venezuelan gang members.
Plus, new evacuation orders. Thousands of Palestinians scramble to find safety as Israel expands airstrikes on Gaza. Also, wildfire danger, the conditions that are elevating the risk in a large swath of the country. Honoring heroes, a former president celebrates service members at a new museum in Texas.
In my brain, we have 3,500 stories to tell. It might take 100 years to tell them all.
And later, movie magic. Some famous props from legendary films could be yours if the price is right.
Hollywood Memories up for sale. I'm Chris Van Cleef. We're going to take you inside the upcoming auction where movie magic could be yours. This is the CS Weekend News from New York.
Good evening. I'm Jerika Duncan. Thanks for joining us on this tonight. Pope Francis.
Tonight on PBS News Weekend, Israel expands military operations in Gaza as health officials there claim more than 50,000 Palestinians have died since the start of the war. Then, how the spread of misinformation online can fan the flames of conspiracy theories on both sides of the political aisle.
There's always been conspiracy theories that have existed as long as humans have recorded history. But what we've seen, and particularly since the pandemic, is we've seen a supercharging of these.
And what Kenya is doing to try to create more open spaces for Africa's wildlife.
Thank you very much for giving time to Amir Shackle 5858. I am Amir Shackle. Have a good life. Bye-bye.